Satchel from Steel Panther. You're listening to Metal Stream Radio with Metal Matt, and he's totally naked from the waist down.
And there we have it. Great introduction there by Satchel himself, guitar legend. And I'm so happy to be here. This is, I think, my third show now for Metal Stream Radio, where I'm just talking heavy metal for 2 hours. I'm playing lots of heavy metal music, and I'm also showing you some interview clips from some various rock stars, because I've interviewed a lot of different people and continue to do so. So there's always going to be cool stuff here on Metal Stream Radio. Be sure to tune in, enjoy, and it's every Friday and Saturday, 1 p.m. on Saturday Eastern Daylight Time, and on the Friday UK time GMT it's 8 p.m. so you know you can tune in, but it's played throughout the week, so tune in when you can, but Fridays and Saturdays if you want to catch it live. Great to be here, and I'm gonna talk a little bit about Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne first off, because it's going to be a bit of an Ozzy special, seeing as we've had this great event in Birmingham, quite a sad event too, saying goodbye almost, but also just a celebration of Ozzy. I don't think it's a goodbye as much as it is a celebration of Ozzy and all the great music and shows he's brought us, so obviously I'm talking about the Back to the Beginning show, which took place in Villa Park in Birmingham, England. Birmingham being where it all started. Bands like Judas Priest come out of Birmingham, and Black Sabbath, and they were the two kind of pioneers of heavy metal. So it's really fitting that Ozzy has went back to Birmingham, back to his roots, to do this show, his final show, and various artists were playing. As I'm sure you know, if you're a metalhead, you're probably up on this anyway, but I'll give you a rundown. Various artists were playing and paying tribute to Judas Priest. You had Metallica doing some songs. I think most of the bands played like one song of their own or some other well-known rock and metal songs, but also one or two Ozzy Osbourne songs. So you had like Metallica. I think Lizzie Hell was there from Hailstorm. Loads of people. Guns N' Roses were there. In fact, I think Axl had a bit of a mixed reception for his vocals, as he seems to get these days. But I think as a singer myself, I've noticed, I think the way Axl sings now is probably not that different to he used to, but it's without the strain and grit on his voice. Like, it may have used to be more like a oh, sweet child of mine, like that kind of high but grated sound. But to get a that kind of sound, you first have to make a high sound like oh, sweet child of mine. And I think he's kind of singing more like that, but more airy. Oh. He's putting like zero strain on his voice, and I think that's why it sounds weird, and everyone's like, oh, that's so bad. But it's probably not that different to how he used to sing. He's probably went to vocal coaches and stuff to get back on track, and they probably said, just don't strain your voice. That's my guess. I don't know for sure, but he's probably just not straining his voice, kind of thing. But his baritone voice is very beautiful. If you hear his lower range, Axl, he's very good. But yeah, mixed reception on the Sabbath show. He did Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. That's one of the songs he sang. One of my favourites. I love that whole album, In fact, I'll be playing a little bit of that in a minute, one of the songs off that album. But yeah, as for the show, it's fantastic. And like I say, all these legendary guests. KK Downing was also there. And he played with Billy from the Smashing Pumpkins. They did Breaking the Law and Snowblind. And KK was tearing it up on Snowblind. Fantastic guitar solo on that. Really, really neat. This performance, I think, will be out eventually somewhere where we can all watch it again. But it was live streamed, the whole show, which people had to get tickets for if they couldn't make the actual show. So it was like a whole day of celebration of Ozzy with all these different bands. Youngblood was probably the newest artist that was there. He did that Changes. We're going through changes. Great song. He did that one. I think that was the one Ozzy did with Kelly, his daughter, right? So yeah, nice song. But yeah, he did a pretty good job. Out of everyone, he's probably had one of the best voices there, surprisingly, because the rest of them were kind of the rest of the singers were like rock stars who've been around a long time, you know, but none of them seem to be able to achieve Ozzy's voice, you know, particularly. And obviously I did a tribute show not long ago, which I'm going to get into in a minute. A few days before this whole show, I did a tribute out here in Cancun. I was asked to sing Ozzy and some Marilyn Manson. So that was kind of a tribute thing to Ozzy, last minute tribute, and I'll tell you, it's very difficult to get his voice, especially when you haven't rehearsed that much. But I'm going to get into that a little later, but it kind of gave me hope seeing all these other rock stars who struggle singing the Ozzy stuff. I think the thing with Ozzy, he's the only guy that can do it. He's the only voice that works for that music, and all the music is sort of written for Ozzy's voice by the seams of it, you know, because when you try and sing it, you know, it's a different thing. Even the layout of his songs are very different from what I've seen before. It's the whole way the songs are is kind of different to a lot of songs. You know, they're very fast paced. Sometimes there's not long instrumental breaks between the singing. There's a lot of words. You know, it's a lot more words than I think a lot of songs have. So yeah, many lyrics, many. You know, he certainly didn't make it easy on himself. But then, he's the Prince of Darkness, and I think, yeah, like I say, he's the only one who can do it, and he pulls it off. Getting to the end of the show, you know, Ozzy was kind of the finale, obviously, because it was his final performance, and I think he sang a lot more than people expected. I think people thought he'd just sing one or two songs, and you know, there was talk of Sharon saying, you know, don't judge him on his voice, because it's, you know, this is a celebration of him, you know, and obviously he hasn't been in the best health. So, you know, it was hit or miss on whether he'd be able to sing well. But I was blown away. He sang really well. He did Mama, I'm Coming Home. That's the one where his voice was... You could hear a bit more emotion in his voice and, you know, a bit more struggle. But I think that was due to the emotion, because it was an emotional performance, you know. And just the thought that these songs were the last time he was going to perform it live. You know, he performed first, I think, with Zakk Wylde and, you know, some other guys, I don't know who it was, but you know, his key guitarist Zakk Wylde over the recent years was there to play all that kind of classic Ozzy solo stuff. So they did Mama, I'm Coming Home, Mr. Crowley, and it sounded fantastic. I was really impressed. I thought he had a great voice, and he was really enjoying himself, and he was sat down for the whole performance, because I think he's had operations and stuff where he can't walk that well anymore, so he was sat down, but you could see him trying to get up or wanting to get up, you know, during the performance, with the excitement of it, because Ozzy's always been a very, you know, dramatic performer, running around the stage, throwing water over the audience and all sorts of things, you know. So for him to stand still or sit still was probably a difficult task, but he was brilliant, and his singing was great. He sang beautifully. And then seeing Black Sabbath, I think that was the particular highlight, seeing them all back on the stage together. Bill Ward on drums, Tony Iommi, of course, the iconic guitar sound of Tony Iommi, and Geezer Butler with that kind of aggressive bluesy bass playing style, really cool. And just seeing them all on the stage together was fantastic, and they played great. They played NIB, lots of well-known songs, you know. Paranoid, I think, was probably the final song. So that was neat, you know. And that's a song that goes way back. In fact, a little story about Paranoid I read recently is apparently it wasn't going to even be on the album. They did it as a last-minute song to fill up that album, and they just come up with it, I think, fast. And it ended up being one of Black Sabbath's most iconic songs. So there you go. That's how it works sometimes. You don't even always have to overthink. Just go with your gut. Do something. Have fun. And sometimes that is what is going to resonate with people, that kind of quick... You know, that's why as a songwriter myself, I always have the attitude of not overthinking the songs I'm doing. I try and do everything kind of almost off the cuff. You know, if I'm inspired by something, I'll start recording it or get it down, you know. And that's kind of how I like to work, try and catch the inspiration when it's there, kind of thing. And I'm sure that's what Black Sabbath must have done for Paranoid, because it became a timeless song. So yeah, in celebration of Ozzy and Black Sabbath, first off I'm going to start with a bit of Spiral Architect now. A fantastic song. This is one song grabbed me as a teenager. I thought this is just amazing music, you know, and I just thought, wow, Ozzy's voice, the music is so beautiful. Probably my favourite song off the Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath album. So let's get into this with Spiral Architect. There we have, what a beautiful song. I just love it. It's one of the songs that just totally brought me into Black Sabbath, you know, and kind of showed me what they're all about. I think out of all the albums, that one's a little bit more kind of lighter and a bit more hopeful. A lot of Black Sabbath is quite dark, you know, and that's what they're so known for, you know. But that album, I particularly like the kind of I don't know, so beautiful, the music, and such a, you know, such a variation. It wasn't just heavy riffs, it was kind of beautiful kind of acoustic parts as well. Tony Iommi there showing his versatility, you know, and it was just a great album. And this is all information for you guys who aren't musicians, of the struggles you have to go through as a musician, which you wouldn't really always think of, you know. I was offered an on-stage monitor thing, but during the sound check I could hear really well, and I thought, well, I probably won't need the on-stage monitor for my voice, and I didn't want my voice to overpower the music. I wanted to hear the music behind me, so I thought, no, I won't bother. But that's probably my biggest mistake. But you live and you learn. In future, I'll always go for the monitor on stage, and then I can sing at a controlled volume kind of thing. But anyway, I had a great time. I recorded it through the PA system, so I've got some clips and stuff. I'm going to play an Ozzy song, and later I'll play a bit of Manson from the show, so you can hear a bit of live music of what we did in tribute, mainly, you know, to Ozzy, because it was his final show. So it was great to be able to do that, you know, around the same time Ozzy was doing his final shows. For the people out here in Cancun, you know, to be able to perform, you know, some Ozzy out here in honour of Ozzy Osbourne was just fantastic. So I gave it my best go, but I'll warn you, it's a bit you know, rough around the edges. It's like I say, I couldn't hear myself on stage, and the actual recording, the instruments aren't leveled up, so you're getting more voice than anything else. But nonetheless, we had fun, and you know, I wish I'd had more rehearsal time. I think that was the main bad thing, that we didn't get together more times to rehearse. We did one big rehearsal where I'd found out I was learning the wrong versions of a lot of the songs, so my timing was out, because there was like a chorus where there wasn't a chorus and all this stuff, so that was a struggle. And then we realised that on the same day of the gig, and I had to quickly make notes in the lyrics of all the changes. So yeah, you can imagine the pressure was on, and it's not stuff I normally sing. So yeah, it was a struggle really, and but I enjoyed it. You know, with more practices and stuff, it would have been probably better. But the energy was great there, the fun, the energy, the love for Ozzy Osbourne and Marilyn Manson's music was there, and it was a celebration. It was fun, and I'll play you a little track from that now, which I thought was one of the better songs, you know, from the night, because it's just a fun song, and I did it in a bit of my own way with a few screams and stuff, and it was "Let Me Hear You Scream," done in a kind of Rob Halford scream style. That's what I was going for, you know. Or Tim Ripper Owens, you know, they both are screamers, but that kind of thing, you know. So take a listen to this. This is from the night.
Hello. It's coming. Let me hear you cry. I'm black and blue, beat up, but still I take the blows. 'Cause all I need is blood and sweat and skin and bone. I'll take this rage right to your gate. Nobody said it's easy. It's do or die, only the strong survive. Get ready for the last stand. Get ready, I'm your hangman. Come on, let me hear you scream like you want it. Let me hear you yell like you mean it. If it's gonna go down, go left, go strong, go proud, go hard, yeah. Or go home, let me hear you. Let me hear you. Let me hear you scream. I pull you up and push you right back in your place. I take you down and wipe that smile right off your face. I watch you break your mind to much. Muchas gracias. Right.
And there we have it. That was Let Me Hear You Scream from the other night. My performance with what you can hear there. A fantastic guitar player. He was the one who asked me to do the gig. He's kind of the band leader, or whatever you want to call it. You know, he was the boss. He came up with this idea, and a great idea it was. You know, his name's Koki, fantastic guitar player. Next up, I'm going to play you a little something by KK from my interview, which is a few years ago now. Here's a clip of him talking about touring and the kind of bands he toured with, and even a little bit of Black Sabbath talk in there. So have a listen to this and enjoy, guys.
Hey, this is Satchel from Steel Panther. You're listening to Metal Stream Radio with Metal Matt, and he is totally naked from the waist down.
I know of so many people in the industry, so many bands, management companies, including our manager as well, you know, that do so much for charity. So a lot of good comes from what we do also.
Yeah. Well, that's really good to hear, because it's something people don't really know. So
No, it's just stuff that we do. We don't, you know, never tell people unless we kind of get, it comes up, you know. Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice. So when it comes to the touring, you hear from a lot of different musicians. Some people hate touring, some people really love it. What was your personal experience, and did you enjoy touring?
There was times when it was, well, there were decades when it was great, you know. Towards the end, it got a little bit it got harder towards, you know, the end. It kind of, because things had changed, you know. But yeah, loads of fun, really. It was great to see the world, wasn't it? It really was.
Today I'm dirty, I want to be pretty. Tomorrow I know I'm just dead. With nobody else, wanna be somebody else. Yeah, we're dead to know just who we are. Yeah. To God the other day, we spent my shifts and never prayed. Get up and down and mother fame. Should I seen the red and taxi? To God the other day, we spent my shifts and never prayed. Get up and down and mother fame. Should I seen the red and taxi?
I had a JJ from Fight. You may remember Fight, Rob Halford's solo band, which he did in the 90s. I've done a few projects with him. He sang some backing vocals on my song Devil in Disguise recently, and we did another project, Devil's Child. We did a cover of Judas Priest Devil's Child together, where he's playing his bass and doing his growl vocals. He's a real beast, fantastic talent, and he still rocks today, as he shows in those songs I mentioned there. I also did an interview with him, so I'm going to play you a little bit of that interview, so you can have a little listen to some Rob Halford, bandmate, talk, and I hope you enjoy it. So I'll play a bit of this, and then after we might, if you're lucky, have a bit of Fight to listen to. So this is JJ Brown the other day, just having a little chat. Do you think there's any chance of a Fight revival in the pipeline? Do you think, have you talked with Rob, talked with anyone else, and do you think there could be a Fight reunion?
Russ said he would be down, and Rob was talking about it when I seen him last year up in Detroit. So, he said that he would like to maybe do even at least a couple shows just to celebrate what we did.
I remember talking with Rob once, and I said to him, "Oh, what I love with you is that you're so precise with everything. Like he's like a perfectionist kind of thing." He just said, well, you got to be, and that was his, that was his answer, And I love that, It's true. But this is a Fight ballad with JJ on bass, of course, and Russ Parrish on guitars with Brian Tills. You've got Scott Travis on drums. They're a fantastic band. So this is For All Eternity. there we have the beautiful For All Eternity. So much passion in Rob's voice, you know. For all eternity. I love that stuff. I love screaming that stuff. I love Fight, you know. It's so great. Amazing music. We got a little message from Russ Parrish, who is the guitar player of Fight. So take a little listen. He was kind enough, he's on a busy tour schedule at the moment, but he was kind enough to record a little voice message here for Metal Stream Radio.
Hey, this is Russ Parrish, formerly from the band Fight. You might remember me from Fight. I was 12 when I did that band, and now I'm in my late 70s. Enjoy listening to some Fight right now. It's back when I could really play fast. Alright, bye.
There we have it. That's Russ Parrish there from Fight, the legend himself.
This is JJ of Fight, and you're watching Metal Stream Radio.
Hey, this is Satchel from Steel Panther. You're listening to Metal Stream Radio with Metal Matt, and he's totally naked from the